Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. This is Simon with AvaTrade. Welcome to our weekly webinar. Of course, special welcome goes to new visitors. We're starting our webinar. They're called Mapping Out a Week Ahead. And in simple words, what we're trying to do here is create the plan for the week. And as I always say, quoting other traders, you have to plan your trade and then trade your plan. This doesn't guarantee success, that's for sure, but definitely removes unnecessary chaos from your trading and makes it more organized and so on. A few things about myself. My name is Simon Friedman. I'm a senior account manager with AvaTrade. I've been trading for over 24 years now. Started as a prop trader in New York City, and after 11 years of doing that, I moved into a less stressful way of trading and also started to mentor and educate others. And currently, I'm very happy that I have a great opportunity to assist our customers at AvaTrade. The agenda of the webinar is usually we talk about indices, stocks, commodities, forex. We mix it with fundamentals and technicals and trying to make sense of things that are happening and make a little bit of a plan for the upcoming trading week. Risk warning you can find at avatrade.com, and of course everything we do, it's purely educational here. We don't suggest any trades. Social media, you can follow us on Telegram, X, and the YouTube channel, which is my favorite. You can find a lot of educational material and information on these channels. YouTube, if you are watching this on YouTube, please click on likes. If you do like it, please feel free to share it with people that might benefit from this, and definitely subscribe and click on that bell so you'll be notified on all the things that we are adding on daily basis. Okay, so past week, and as you know, it's been for a while focused on NVIDIA a lot as being a leader of AI, hitting all-time highs, hitting crazy level of market value, over 3.2 trillion, bypassing Apple and Microsoft. And this past week, the last 2 days, NVIDIA went into downside a little bit. What happened on Friday? NVIDIA finished down 3.2% at 126.57, and it fell 4% on the week. And this is the first losing week after the 8 weeks straight gain. And a lot of publications, a lot of opinions on NVIDIA. Some are trying to calculate how the market will suffer should NVIDIA go into correction. They're bringing to an example the recent correction on NVIDIA when making a peak and then going into 20% correction. We're going to take a look at it when we get to the stock. So all about NVIDIA. Also, we had a few interest rate decisions. We had another interest cut from Swiss National Bank. The others, UK and Australia, they kept it the same. So we'll take a look at that as well. We'll go through the stocks. We'll go through the majors, as Microsoft, Netflix, Apple, Amazon, Google. We'll take a look at commodities. That includes gold, copper, oil, natural gas, cocoa, palladium, soft commodities. We'll then go into forex, of course, talk about the dollar index and majors and the effect of Swiss National Bank as well. And okay, let's start. Before that, let's take a look at economic calendar. Most of you are using it. If you're not using it, I highly suggest to at least know that certain things are happening. Whether you use it, you trade with it, or you try to avoid trading, and certain things is totally up to you. But I strongly believe that every trader should be aware of upcoming events, because the last thing you want to do is get caught into market spikes without knowing what's happening. So again, here, just for new people, a little explanation. Here, I just take the high impact events. There's so much more. You can find the economic calendar on our web trader or the app or any other provider. It's public information. There's no secret. You can find out about these events ahead of time. You have previous number, you have consensus, and of course, when the numbers come out, you see the actual numbers. So you can filter it. Like I said, I filtered out just the high impact events. There's so much more. Okay, so Monday we have the Governor of Bank of Canada speaking. Then Tuesday we have Consumer Price Index from Canada. Also Wednesday, CPI numbers from Australia. And this is important, definitely. This is the week to watch the banks stress test info. What they do, they do simulation. If certain events are happening, like market crash or anything like that, they're testing how the banks are going to survive. Are they having enough cash and so on? So this is important. Thursday, we have GDP numbers from US, followed by CPI numbers from Japan. Friday, retail sales from Germany, GDP numbers from UK, and the culmination of the week, this is the core personal consumption expenditure numbers. These are the numbers that the Feds are paying close attention to in their decisions and monetary policy moves. So these are the things for the upcoming week. Okay, so let's move now into the trading terminal. So we'll start with indices. You know what? Let's start with China. China is continuing its weakness. If you remember, there was a nice move up when the government tried to do something similar to QE in the US when they bought certain securities and they tried to move the market higher, and they succeeded for a short period of time. And we peaked here on May 20th. Since then, we've been zigzagging, making lower lows, lower highs, continuing lower. And here, so far on the daily chart, we have a double bottom here, 14th of June, and then 21st of June. So if we are continuing lower, I'm sorry, that we might be retesting the 200 moving average. If that continues, we might come to this level here, which was the beginning of this recent move to the upside. That was the mid-April. Exactly on the 15th of April, we started that move with a strong move to the upside. So we'll continue watching China. And as you know, if you're regular here, that when I speak about China, I bring up four markets. That's the copper, oil, Australian, and New Zealand dollar. And I'll explain why. Copper and oil being widely used in China. That's understandable. And Aussie and New Zealand dollar, they actually called commodity currencies because those two countries are supplying a lot of goods for China. So let's take a quick look at oil. Oil Friday sold after making a recent move to the upside. Copper has been moving lower. We're going to go through all the commodities, and they're pretty much weak in the past, the ended week. So that's copper, and Aussie and New Zealand dollar also had two consecutive sessions to the downside. Of course, that also is being caused by the strength of the US dollar as well. Okay, so in the US indices, we'll start with the strongest one, actually. That's been the weakest, but this past week's been the strongest. Dow Jones started a little bit of recovery here when NASDAQ and S&Ps were actually selling. So we had a pretty much strong week for Dow Jones here. Moving higher here. The S&Ps two consecutive sessions after making all-time highs. We sold on Thursday and Friday both, and NASDAQ as well. We had high range candle here on Thursday, and Friday we continued lower. So there's a possibility of continuation to the downside. Like I said, the whole focus is on NVIDIA. A lot of analysts are screaming about it. Some are still optimistic. Others are saying that maybe it's running out of steam, especially bringing into our attention that the CEO of NVIDIA, I think I mentioned last meeting, he's been selling a lot of shares. And this is the latest disclosure here that from June 13 through 18th, he sold, the CEO again of NVIDIA, he sold 480,000 shares of NVIDIA, total of 63.1 million, and average price about 131.42. So as I mentioned last time, there's a lot of officials in the company also selling, not a lot, but few maybe, selling the stock. So like I said, NVIDIA is in focus, will be continued being in focus, and that's putting a lot of pressure on both S&Ps and NASDAQ. NASDAQ especially, which is the technology heavy index. German DAX, it's been struggling. We had this big sell-off on the 13th and 14th, and this past week, we pretty much ended up flat. UK, we had a move up on Thursday and then a reversal on Friday. So we'll continue watching the indices this upcoming week, and of course the whole focus is on US indices. Okay, let's move to stocks. I'm going to move to MT5 for a moment, just to bring NVIDIA. By the way, if you are trading stocks, there's a much larger selection on MT5. Some stocks are not available on MT4. Okay, so NVIDIA, here we go. After hitting the all-time highs and crazy market value, we sold. It was a reversal on Thursday and Friday, continued with a gap. So again, if this continues, we might go to a correction mode here. And this is the correction that I've been talking to you about in the beginning. When hitting the highs in March 8th, we hit the high. This is the adjusted price. The price there before the split was much higher. So 97.36 we hit on the March 8th, and then we went into correction all the way down to 75.5, and then we start moving higher. So like I said, some analysts are kind of open into an idea that NVIDIA can have another scenario similar to that March scenario, when after hitting the highs and reversal, similar thing happened here. If you could see, there was a strong, a large candle here, similar to this one, even larger, and the gap continuation. So it looks like we might be experiencing some sell-off here, and some analysts actually predicting that 20% is doable. And of course, there's another camp that's saying we'll continue higher as well. So this is NVIDIA. Other stocks sold as well. That includes Apple. Here we go. Apple has been selling for 3 consecutive days. Microsoft, on the other hand, has been strong. It's been confirming the highs also this past week. Amazon and Google has been strong, as you could see here. When NVIDIA sold and other stocks did, Amazon went up, and Google as well. Google is playing with all-time highs. So there's a mixed picture here. Even though NVIDIA is selling and some other stocks, including Apple, are selling, there are also strong moves to the upside with Amazon, Google. Also, Netflix has been strong, and it is on the way to retest this high from 2021. And the high here was almost 699.54. We are possibly on the way there. Again, if that doesn't happen, we reverse. we might come back here to around 650 area where there was a lot of actions. Now, as I mentioned to you, there's a bank stress test report test, and definitely we'll be watching banks. And towards the end of the week, they had a little bit of a downside move. That's on JP Morgan here, Goldman Sachs as well, Citigroup also to the downside, Bank of America. So it looks like the banks are correcting here a little bit after making some of them double top, some of them new highs on the recent basis. So we'll be watching banks this coming week. Now, Teva, as you know, Teva Pharmaceutical, we've been talking about it a lot. After making a high on the 12th at 1767, we've been correcting nicely here. It's a healthy correction. And it could be we're setting up for that move higher. Just to remind us, a while ago we spoke about it. The analysts are setting up a price target about 19. We are in a strong up move here after a long plateau here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is the 8th month to the upside. So far we're flat on the month based on the monthly chart here. So a lot of accumulation here. If we continue higher, we might hit that target. If we choose to go lower here, so we try to watch this level. The low of the range was at $16, 1601 to be precise. So we'll continue watching Teva for possible continuation of this upside move. Okay, that's as far as equities. We move to commodities, and most of the commodities were low or down this past week. That includes gold. Gold did great on Thursday, moving to the upside, but on Friday, with the strength of the dollar, it just went to reversal, and we did close below that key level, 23.33 again, and this candle could be showing a reversal. Again, we've been sitting in this tight range here for a long time. We'll see what gold presents to us in the upcoming week. Copper, as I mentioned, it's been selling with downside pressure from China as well. It's not helping. We are playing with this level 444, 445. That was the initial stop with this a large candle here, and a lot of actions here. We had few tails to the downside, but we still were closing above. This is the first closing in 2 weeks below this 444 level. So we'll continue watching copper. We are still above the 100 moving average here. If we continue lower, first thing we would need to retest the low of this spike here at 437.25. And if we break that, we might continue lower and retest the 100 moving average and could move lower on copper. And if we're still holding this level and this drop or the breakdown would be fake, if we close above again and start moving higher, we could resume this move to the upside. And if we see some positive things from China, that would actually help a lot in this case. So that's on copper. Crude oil has been strong until Friday. Friday was a reversal of Thursday here. We're still looking strong here. We are above the $80. We closed at 80.57 after hitting on Friday 81.77. So we are above all the 3 moving averages here, sitting right on 100 moving average. So we'll continue watching oil. And if we move lower, that 80 psychological and technical level would show us what's the situation. If we're holding, we might continue higher. If we come below 80 and start building resistance here, we might continue sliding lower and retest the lower levels here. Natural gas also showing the weakness here after having a nice run here. We hit the high on 11th of June of 315. And since then, we made a lower high and the lower low. We broke down below this trend line that we managed to set up here. So let's see what's the story with natural gas. It could be this recent move coming to an end. It could be that we actually forming here some setup they called cup and holder. You see the cup and the holder in preparation for the move higher. We'll find out what's next for natural gas. We'll be continue watching that. Cocoa, it just continues to amuse everyone with crazy moves. After hitting 10 again, we've been selling. And take a look at the range of Friday, where the range between 9,400 and 8,500, $900 range, closing at the lows and below the previous low. So we could continue actually lower from here. We are between 50 and 100 moving average here. If we continue sliding, that 100 moving average would be the next test for cocoa. Sugar has been having a lot of actions around the 1915, as we mentioned a few times. We had support and we broke below. A lot of accumulation here that failed to go lower, so we came all the way up above 1915. Back and forth, up and down. We are below that level again, and we are building here a strong base above the previous one. So it could be that we're building up for that move to the upside. If that's the case, we would need to break this previous high, and that would bring us to the uptrend. So the high of 1963, that's the recent resistance. If we break that and start building nice price action here above, we could be setting up for a nice continuation to the upside. If not, we could be stuck here for a while, might even come down and retest around 18 again. So that's on sugar. Palladium, as you could see, we have a lot of commodities today. Palladium had a crazy move on Friday. This is a real spike. We did break above 950 and close right at 920, a little bit higher than the open. We're testing these levels again. It looks like a lot of rejections here around the 50-day moving average here. So we'll continue watching Palladium. As you could see here, we're at the lows and trying to build a strong base here for possible move to the upside. And of course, if we continue lower, the recent low here around 850, 860 could be retested as well. Now let's conclude with our softies, the soft commodities with corn, soybeans, and wheat. Where are you guys? Here we go. Wheat is the weakest. Take a look at this fall. We came right where we started back in February. So February, we started this move that reached all the way to 730, almost 720, 719 and a half, the end of May. Since then, it's been a strong sell-off with a little bit bounce here and then continuation. So there's a lot of weakness in wheat, but we could be reaching the point of a strong support here around 550, 560 area where we are currently. So let's see if this is the strong support. If the buyers or real buyers will come and step in again, we might see a reversal moving to the upside. Corn also has been weak. We've been making a lower highs with the lower lows, and we might continue here. We are actually testing this level here from which we bounced. That was back in April 25th. If we don't come up above this level of 435, 436, we might continue lower and look for some buyers to step in at some point. And the soybeans, the same thing. We've been since confirming this double top here back in May. Again, we've been selling, and similar to the corn, we come to retest that same level from beginning of May. We've been testing it and not managing to break below. So this could be support from which we bounce to the upside. If we do break it, we might go and try to retest the previous levels here at around 1130. So that's as far as soft commodities. Let's move to Forex. We start with dollar index, been strong. Thursday and Friday was strong up days, and we're back to basics. This level around 105.5 has been a key level. Just to show us here, this November of last year, the sell-off started there. Strong accumulation here, a lot of actions, resistance, resistance, another resistance. So 105.52. If we do break above it and start building support, we might start that move to the upside. You can see it clearly on the weekly chart. Here, we're clearly making higher highs and higher lows very clearly, right? And we are trying to actually lift the head above that level as we did here, but then we failed. So maybe this time we might be breaking through. Again, it depends on a lot of aspects, on economic data, on the language of the Feds, the bankers, and other things. So we'll continue watching this current level on US dollar index. And of course, the euro and the pound is just the mirror picture here. We're facing support on the pound. We've been actually retesting the 200 moving average, and we're back to basics again. If you remember, I've been mentioning this level a lot. If you zoom out, this tight range between 126 and 128 has been in play for a very long time. We came out, came back again, came out, came back again. So we are approaching that 126 to the downside, and it's also a 200 moving average on GBP USD, which could attract buyers around this level. Swiss franc, as I said, there was an interest rate decision, another cut. So it's a second cut, while others didn't cut at all. So as you could see, the reaction was strong on Thursday and Friday, continuation on USD CHF. We said already on Australian New Zealand dollar that's been selling Thursday and Friday. We're coming to a strong level here, 0.6632. You could see here a lot of tails ended right on that level. So let's see if we're holding there. New Zealand dollar as well. Here it's a little weaker. We are below that level. 3 consecutive red days. And yen. Yen has been super, super weak. As you could see here, we are approaching that high of 160.23 from the end of April. We had some data from Japan. We had recent interest rate decision that didn't change anything. A lot of downside pressure on yen. I always said, and the funniest thing about it, you don't really know when and how, but Bank of Japan is famous of doing those things when they interact and inject the funds and create that move spikes similar to this. So it could be happening. Also, we could see that decision from Bank of Japan. It's unlikely, but possible that they might increase the interest rate to bring the yen to a stronger position. So far, yen has been super weak. We can take a look against other currencies. Here you go. This is the Swiss JPY. It's at the highs. Australian, Canadian, Euro JPY is facing resistance here, the current levels. Very important to notice as well. New Zealand JPY is super strong. It's just in the skies. So yen continues to be weak. We might see some actions by Bank of Japan to try to control it and influence the Japanese yen. That's it pretty much with Forex. Let's take a quick look at Bitcoin. It is trading below 65,000 as we speak. Not a lot happening. It's been at this level since we broke the 65 and a half. The lowest so far was 63,317. So let's set up. Okay, around 63,300 so far. That's what we hit on the 21st, on Friday. So far, Saturday and Sunday, of course, that's not a busiest time for trading, but Bitcoin has been flat here. Clearly, we're experiencing a downside pressure. So immediate support, that's Friday support at 63,317. Let's see how Bitcoin acts from here. Let's just try to draw something here. This is the beginning of the move, and that's where we stopped. So that's a trend line that if the sell-off continues, we might be reaching the trend line at some point. Of course, if there's some good news and some actions will come, we might continue to the upside. Besides all the purely fundamentals for Bitcoin, what's affecting it, of course, the market technology is going down, and the dollar strength has been pushing Bitcoin to the downside. Of course, it has its own reasons as well. A lot to do with regulators and other things. Okay, so again, please don't forget about the social media channels. You have Telegram, you have X, and YouTube. Subscribe, click on the bell, share, like, be active. If you are watching us on YouTube, please leave your comments, questions, anything would be very helpful. So just to summarize, next week or this week already, it's the last week of the June, so we're finishing the second quarter. It's summertime, we're entering July. Markets are at the highs, but getting a little spooky, especially by Nvidia losing 4% in 2 days pretty much. A lot of pressure on that. At the same time, a lot of excitement. Dollar is experiencing the strength. Some major stocks are making or keeping the new highs. Some are going into correction. We have some data coming up this week. Prepare yourself, have a plan, enjoy the weekend, get some energy, be happy, and thank you for coming up to our webinars. We should be back next week. All the best. Take care.